Good morning, YouTube. Hope you're all well. Welcome back for another story time. So, tell a story about when I was in B dorm. So, B dorm is a short timers dorm where I was at, anyways. This was just only telling the stories that you know apply to the compound that I was on specifically. I don't know how things were on other compounds at other prisons. Okay, the people, people are different everywhere you go. Not everyone's the same. Okay, not all prison compounds are the same. Some are worse than others. Some are softer than others. Where I was at, um, so I was in B dorm. B dorm is the short timers dorm. At this point, I had been in prison for about 2 years. I had about 6 months left. So when you get to be short timing, they move you over to B dorm, which is kind of messed up, because while you're in prison, you really don't want to tell anyone how much time you have left because some people are never going home and they will sabotage you. They'll try to set you up to get more time. And so, similar to not telling anyone when your birthday is because, you know, you might get messed up. You don't want to tell anyone how much time you have left because people get bitter. They get upset, they get jealous, which rightfully so. They're there, some of those people are there forever. So, oh, B dorm. So one day, you know, we're in there right after chow. After chow, you kind of got to sit in the dorm, for a couple hours before they open the doors back up, which they're not always going to open the doors back up for you to go to yard or go to canteen or something like that. Sometimes, depending on how many guards are on staff that day, or, if something happened, they might not let you go out to rec. So, at this point in my stay, I was I was doing a lot of exercising, a lot of working out. I was in peak physical condition. You know, I had already been on that compound for, what, a year, 9 months or something like that. I was pretty well known. I was pretty well known. I you know, I had a lot of visibility on the compound because I was never staying in any, wasn't sitting still. I was always outside the dorm. I was always hustling. I was never really inside, you know. I was sliding in and out of different dorms that I wasn't supposed to be in. Ended up in some crazy situations, and people are always peeking out the windows of their dorm to see what's going on the compound. And I was always out there. Always. And I'm pretty hard to miss. I stand out in the crowd. And so this particular day, um, I was doing push-ups or something in the dorm, and then in between my sets, I would just walk laps around the open bay dorm. Okay. Um, in the dorm where I was at, there were about there was three Latin Kings, and one of them was the ranking Latin king in the dorm. He was just above the other two. And so he kind of delegated orders, you know. And so finish one of my sets and I'm walking around in circles and they were all hanging out in the back corner of the dorm that way, and then right up there would be the police bubble where there was the glass. The police could walk back and forth because in the dorm there's two sides on either dorm, and then the bubble sits in the middle with the glass so that the police could walk back and forth and see inside of each dorm to see what was going on. Now, when you fight in prison, you you always want to take it to the blind spot where the police cannot see, because if you do it right in the middle of the dorm, it's going to cause a commotion, and obviously the police are going to come check to see what's going on, and when they see you doing, some act of violence, they're going to call for help, and then the police in about, you probably got a minute or two, and then they're going to rush the dorm. All right. So I finished my set and I'm walking around in circles, and I pass the Latin Kings. There's three of them hanging out on their bunks. Pass around. I walk back around and come back. And when I come back, one of them says, "Hey man, did you just fart when you walked by me? Did you just fart and leave some stinking smell over here by where I'm sitting, right here by where I lay my head? What the fuck is your problem?" Now, at this point, again, I was a savage. I was not doing any talking anymore. After my experience in the beginning, I was a person who did not do any talking. As soon as a person stepped to me with some kind of aggressive talk, it's over. The conversation's over, and we're fighting. We're fighting immediately because there's nobody, you're not going to talk to me in any kind of aggressive way anymore. I'm not allowing it to escalate even the smallest bit because, things happen pretty quick. And so I want to just go ahead and initiate because, being the aggressor is always in prison is always a little bit is better. It's just better to be the aggressor than to have somebody stepping down on you. So this dude says, "Oh man, what the heck is your problem? Did you just fart near me and leave a stinking smell next to my bed, next to where I lay my head? What's your problem?" And so as soon as he said that, again, I told him, "Okay, uh, catch that wall. Catch that wall, dude. You're gonna have to show me one." And so I walk down to my bunk because my bunk is right by the wall, and I go to put my shoes on and I stand right by the wall waiting for him. And one of his buddies, a bigger one, the bigger Latin King, he starts yelling. He starts yelling, taking off his shirt, snatched off his shirt, and walking up and down the aisleways right in the middle of the dorm, yelling, "I'll do this, I'll do that. You're nothing. Do you know who I am? I'm a Latin King. Rah, 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 rah." And I, meanwhile, am just standing by the wall. I'm just standing by the wall, waiting for this dude, waiting for something. But I didn't like the aggressive talk. So as soon as he starts yelling, the yelling and the noise and the commotion draws the police to the glass to see what's going on. This this type of behavior in prison is called a check-in move because obviously if you draw the attention to the police, they're going to come in there before you even have the chance to go to for anything to happen. They're just going to come in and um and then not let anything happen, basically. So when there's a fight in prison, you really don't even want to turn your head and look because There's going to be noise, there's going to be a scuffle. You'd rather just position yourself in the back if you want to see what's going on, but most of the time, it's just proper etiquette not to act like not to point with your eyes, basically. You know, the police will come, the police will come to the glass and they'll see everybody looking in one direction and they're going to wonder what's going on. They're going to shut it down. They're going to send some people in. At least in the short timer dorm. The other dorms, they don't really care that much about fighting. But in the short timing dorm, they're going to be a little bit more strict because they don't want people going home with some kind of gashed face or something like that. They don't want people going home hurt, you know? So, so, um, so he starts doing his rah rah, doing his little performance, because most of these people on the street, they use guns. There's not a whole lot of fighting anymore, you know. So I usually take that as a sign, if you're using a gun, you probably can't fight. I, on the other hand, kind of got them hands. So he does his little performance, and I just stand at the wall waiting. I don't even respond. I just stood at the wall waiting for somebody to come. And they kept on with the performance. And I stood at this wall just waiting. And then the police came to the bubble. They came to the glass, and he started banging on the glass. Boom, boom, boom. Get out of here. Knock that off. You know, started motioning with his hands. You could hear him behind the glass, and now it's over. Now it's over. We really can't do anything. So, I just sat at my bunk because my bunk was right next to the blind spot. So I'm sitting there. I'm watching the Latin Kings talking to each other. Conferring amongst themselves, which is kind of weird. And so about an hour goes by, and the high-ranking Latin King, he motions for me to come here. Hey, man, come here. And so I go over there and I sit down on the bunk, and the three of them are right there. And the two Latin Kings that are under this dude, they're just quiet while he talks. And so he looks at me and he tells me, "All right, man, I don't know what the problem is here. Okay, obviously you had caused some kind of problem. You've caused a ruckus here. You've caused a disturbance among the people." And he said, "So you have two choices right now. You can either roll your stuff up, go hit the glass, tell the police you want to check in, and get yourself up out of here, or we we're gonna make sure you leave out of here on a stretcher. Basically, you can check in and leave yourself, or we're gonna hurt you, and they are gonna have to carry you out of here." And I sat there for a second, and I said, "Well, you must not know about me, because I'm not that dude. I'm not checking in. I'll just take what's coming to me." I got up and I walked back. I put, my shoes stayed on. I just said, I'm not checking in. Okay. I'll just take what's coming to me. I got up and I walked back over to the wall and stood there. And when I looked back, there was a lot of frustration, a lot of frustration among the three of them. Okay. I see them arguing amongst themselves. They're arguing amongst themselves about which one of them is gonna come roll me up. They're arguing amongst themselves about which one of them is going to actually go through with trying to hurt me, trying to fight me. And as I'm watching them, you know, I see them all starting to get discouraged. Nobody wants to do anything, which was weird. Why wouldn't they all just do it together? Why wouldn't they just jump me? It's a very common thing. Why wouldn't they just jump me? Okay, and I always thought in my head, I always put these gangs on a pedestal. They're known for violence. What is going on right now? Why is there such this big hesitation? You know, this dude, the bigger dude, you know, not the ranking person, but one of the underlings, one of the little minions, he's pretty big. And he's got this big Latin King tattoo right on his chest. Big right here. He must be about it. If he inked it into his skin, he must be about it, right? I expected more from these people. And so they kept arguing amongst themselves. I saw the ranking Latin king get up. He just got up and was like, man. And he walked away. And he walked away. And I'm standing on the wall. Eyes got a little bit bigger, a little bit, but I just kept standing there, waiting. And the other two, again, argued a little bit amongst themselves, and then they just got up, turned, and walked back to their bunk. And this was seen by everybody, by everybody. And so after about 5 minutes, when I saw them over there just BSing again by themselves, um, I walked over to the ranking Latin King that was sitting on his bed. I was sitting on his bunk, and I was like, "What's up? What's going on?" He says, "I don't know, man. They don't want to do anything. I'm seriously disappointed, pretty embarrassed. I had bigger expectations. I don't know what's going on, but you're good, man." So I was like, "Look, if you guys are gonna do something, you know, I don't want to sit here and have to sleep with my eyes open, wondering if I'm gonna get stabbed in the middle of the night or if I'm gonna get hit with a locket in the middle of the night." He said, "Nah, man, you're good. You could just did that. Not, it's over. It's over, dude. You got that." So I said, "Okay," and I walked away. And after that, there was massive respect, massive respect. Word, you know, prison is just gossipy. All right, word travels super fast, and we went to yard, we went to rec, and everybody knew it. And nothing ever happened. None of the other Latin kings that were, um, you know, that were in the other dorms that had more time, they never stepped to me. They never came up to me. Now, in the prison that I was at, you know, I don't know how other prisons and other places go, but gangs have a large presence, or they have a large presence where I was at, but it's not everything, you know. I wasn't affiliated with anything ever. I was just one deep pretty much, just stayed to myself. You know, I had a few friends and a few um affiliates that I had, you know, I had to interact with to get the sticks or to get the bomb, but that was pretty much it. I didn't fight with anybody. I didn't keep a knife. I had access to a knife because you know, I knew people that had them, but I didn't keep one. So, you know, if you're a person who commands respect and you're willing to fight, you kind of get left alone. And I was really surprised. I kind of thought, again, I thought they were harder than that. So apparently not. Apparently not. So it was a pretty nerve-wracking experience, though. Um, I guess at the time I really didn't care because, you know, it's whatever. You get so hypnotized and you get so, embedded in the culture on the compound that you kind of forget about, even if you go into the short time in dorm and you get more time for fighting, if you're in there for long enough, it really doesn't matter because you kind of forget about the outside world. At that point, I didn't, I could barely even remember what it looked like. Some people may say that 2 years isn't really that long, but it's kind of a long time. Kind of a long time. So, yeah, that was the story about the Latin Kings on the Liberty compound. Kind of soft, in my opinion. You know. So, anyhow, that's story time for today. Hit the like button. Leave a comment. Tell me how hard the Latin Kings are wherever you are. And definitely subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.